Okay, so you want to buy a car wash. Of course you do. Half the internet wants to buy a car wash right now. It's the crown jewel of the passive income fantasy of building with no inventory, no chefs. No waiter's a machine that turns soap and water into money while you sleep. Here is the part nobody tells you. A modern car wash is not really in the car cleaning business. The biggest operator in America gets 79% of its wash sales from monthly subscriptions. It's a gym membership with soap, and just like a gym, the perfect customer is the one who pays every month and barely shows up. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what one of these costs to build and why the machines cost more than the building they live in. You'll know why the soap and water are basically free and what you are actually selling instead. And you'll know how one of the biggest car wash chains in America, 260 locations, went bankrupt with $654 million of debt and $1 million in the bank. Because the mistake that killed them is being repeated right now by hundreds of brand new car washes opening this year. Let's run the numbers. First, the buy-in. And I need you to delete the number in your head, because whatever it is, it's too low. There are 3 ways into this business. Door number 1, buy an existing wash. Single locations trade at roughly 5 to 9 times their annual profit. A tunnel clearing $300,000 a year will cost you somewhere around $2 million before a single lawyer gets paid. Door number 2, build one. A complete express tunnel project, land, building, equipment, permits runs about $2.6 to $7 million, depending on where you put it. And the breakdown is not what you'd expect. The building itself, maybe $750,000 to $1.5 million. The equipment inside it, the conveyor, the dryers, the chemical systems, $1.4 to $2.1 million. Read that again. The machines cost more than the building they live in. Door number 3, the big city flagship. One documented project on the West Coast, a 4,300 square foot tunnel with 29 vacuum stations penciled out at $10.5 million. And $4.2 million of that was just the land. Before the first car got wet, before the first employee got hired, $10 million was gone. Why would anyone pay that? Location. An express wash is a volume machine. It lives and dies on the traffic count of one intersection. You are not really buying a car wash. You are buying a corner, and the corner is most of the price. So the fantasy of the humble little wash. At today's prices, a serious express tunnel is a multi-million-dollar bet. Which raises the obvious question, what could possibly be inside soap and water that pays that back? Here is the beautiful part. The actual washing costs almost nothing. Run the math on one car. The average express wash charges about $15. The chemicals on your paint about $1.25. The electricity under $1. The water, and this is my favorite number in the whole business, a modern tunnel uses 35 to 45 gallons per car, but the good ones recycle most of it. With a reclaim system, the water and sewer bill drops to about 35 to 55 cents per car. Labor in a well-run tunnel, $1 to $2. Total, best case, around $1.50 to $2.50 per car against $15 of revenue. The soap and water on your car cost less than the receipt they hand you. Everything else is margin before the fixed costs come to eat it. And volume is what feeds the fixed costs. A healthy tunnel runs more than 100 cars a day. The monsters, the best corners in America, push over 200,000 cars a year through one tunnel. At $15 a car, that's $3 million a year out of one driveway. But per car customers are weather. Rain kills a Saturday. Winter kills a month. So sometime in the last 15 years, this industry discovered the same trick as the gyms stopped selling washes. Sell membership. $20 to $40 a month, wash whenever you want, unlimited. And the subscription flipped the whole business model. Mr. Car Wash, the biggest chain in the country, has about 2.3 million members. 79% of its wash sales are subscription now. That's revenue that shows up whether it rains or not, whether anyone washes or not. Because here is the quiet mechanic underneath it, the gym mechanic. Industry data shows a new member who washes 3 or more times in their first month is 76% more likely to stick around. Wash less than twice, they're 75% more likely to vanish. The operators know this. It's why they beg you to come back in week 1. They're not being friendly, they're programming a habit. And the steady state they're hoping for is the member who pays every month and shows up, occasionally, paying for the idea of a clean car. Add it all up, and a good express wash prints margins that software companies would nod at. An express tunnel doing over $1.5 million in revenue should keep 47 to 55 cents of every dollar as profit before debt and taxes. Roughly 50% margins on soap. Numbers like that don't stay secret. And about 5 years ago, the biggest money in the world found this industry. Remember that bankruptcy from the beginning. Here is how you bankrupt a business with 50% margins. Around 2021, private equity looked at express car washes and saw the holy grail: recurring subscription revenue, no inventory, real estate underneath. The playbook was simple: buy tunnels, slap a membership program on them, borrow against the cash flow, buy more tunnels. Chains with 4 or more locations were selling for over 17 times their profit at the peak. Mr. Car Wash went public in 2021 and at one point traded around 42 times its cash earnings for a car wash. Zips Car Wash ran that playbook as hard as anyone in America. 2 locations in Arkansas in 2004. By the 2020s, over 260 locations across 23 states. $345 million in annual revenue. Growth mostly bought with borrowed money at boom prices. Then the music stopped. Interest rates went up, and a lot of that debt floated up with them. And the competition didn't stop coming by Zip's own court filings. More than 900 new car wash sites were opening in America every single year. Every great corner got a second tunnel, then a third. Everybody offered the same $10 first-month deal to poach everybody else's members. February 5, 2025. Zips files for Chapter 11. The numbers in the filing are brutal poetry: $654 million of debt, $1 million of cash. That's $2.5 million of debt per location, more than many of those locations were worth. 2 months later, the company handed the keys to its lenders. The old owner's equity zero. And here is the detail I need you to sit with. The tunnels were fine. The members kept paying. The washes kept washing. Zips didn't die because car washes are a bad business. It died because it paid boom time prices with floating rate money for an asset everyone else was building more of. The business model worked. The spreadsheet didn't. And in case you think that was one reckless roll-up, the pros got burned too. Driven Brands, the public company behind Take 5 Oil Change, spent years building a car wash empire, hundreds of locations. In 2023, they admitted what it was worth: an $851 million write-down on the car wash division, plus another $133 million in asset charges. That one confession dragged the whole company to a $745 million loss for the year. In April 2025, they gave up, completely sold all 380 American car washes for $385 million. Do that math. Roughly $1 million per location for washes that cost $3 to $5 million to build. They sold the empire for less than the equipment inside it cost new. So write down the 3 ways this business kills people. 1. Debt. The margins are real, but they seduce you into borrowing like they'll never dip. They dip. 2. Saturation. A car wash can't move. When a competitor opens across the street and at 900 new sites a year, Your traffic count gets cut in half, and no amount of good management gets it back. The corner giveth, the corner taketh away. 3. The silent leak. Memberships feel permanent, but the industry loses roughly 4% of members a month to cancellations and another 3 to 4% to expired credit cards. Nobody angrily quits the plastic, just dies. At those rates, you replace half your entire member list every 9 months, forever. The subscription machine only looks passive. It's a treadmill. So, after all the horror stories, how much does the owner of one good car wash actually make? Let's build an honest one. Say you develop a solid express tunnel in a decent market, call it a $4 million project. You put in $1 million of your own money and borrow $3 million at today's rates. Your wash matures into a steady performer, $1.2 million a year in revenue, about 80,000 cars plus a member base. At that size, benchmark margins say roughly 45%, call it $540,000 of annual profit before debt. Now the bank takes its bite. A $3 million loan at 8% over 20 years costs about $300,000 a year. You are left with roughly $240,000. Pre-tax on $1 million invested if nothing goes wrong after 2+ years of permits, construction, and ramp up. That's a genuinely good return. It's also not passive, and not guaranteed. It's a 7-figure real estate development project wearing a soap costume. And if you get the corner right, that 200,000 car flagship doing $3 million in revenue at 50% margins throws off $1.5 million a year. One tunnel. That's the machine private equity fell in love with. The love was rational, the leverage wasn't. Which brings us to the winner. Mr. Car Wash, 548 locations, 2.3 million subscribers, and in 2025, its first $1 billion revenue year. Steady, boring, compounding. The model works at any scale you can actually afford to hold. But even the king got repriced. That 42 times multiple from 2021 fell to around 7. The washes didn't change. The hype did. So here is the truth about the car wash business. You are not paid to clean cars. The soap is a rounding error. You are paid every month. A few thousand people decide not to cancel. It might be the best small business in America, hiding inside the most dangerous real estate trade in America. The wash prints money. The debt decides who keeps it. The house always wins. Just make sure the house isn't mortgaged to someone else.